Perfect. Just the slightest breeze.
That happened when I had, on that call. Oh, you did? Like someone said, hey, I was a card. And I didn't realize the best of chords. I'm like, all right, let's bring you over here. So he's like, we have a big screen. Like, bring you over here to see the audience, get all the high school kids. And it just went, oh. But stayed connected, and as using the break, it was all good. She brought it all.
We're ready. 7:01.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No.
So moving on, I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I would like to have item B on the consent agenda pulled up.
All right, we can do that. So we will put that at the
Make
end
sure
of
I'm
new
getting the right
business.
one. Yes,
There'll be, okay,
Item B.
all right. So we have.
Hold
item-
off and put on regular.
No, just after we vote on one, then we're on the consent agenda, then we'll
Okay.
discuss that one.
Gotcha.
All right, so then we just have items. Let's see.
This item B and C.
Yeah, we'll just, that remains items A and C. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Second, all right. So items A and C of the consent agenda are adopted. Do you
No,
know,
we're not.
all those in favor?
We're still setting the agenda.
Yeah, we're still accepting the
Yep.
agenda. Right,
That was a motion.
Yes.
adopt the agenda. All right. Why do I have staff updates up here for,
That would be
oh,
after.
board
consent.
information, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see that one at the bottom. All right, do we want to discuss B now, or do we want to discuss it?
Well, we gotta do financial report.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
never mind. All right, we'll move on to the financial reports then.
So did we actually get the No. Oh, yeah. So you go look at your revenues and, oh, you did. Good. Obviously, we are a little bit in between, financial management, but, things are going well. We did, thanks to Jody, get all of your reports printed. First one I will look at, again, we'll get to checks and wires, but the revenues, you're kind of hoping that 90 to 100% of your revenues are in, since we're, 7 days from the end of our fiscal year. Do please remember, if you guys, for those of you who choose to pay your property taxes, in January and July, the second half of our entire $11 million income is our property taxes, so that $5 million is split between your January payments and your July payments. So you may get nervous and say, hey, Jamie, we don't have all our revenues. In fact, we're missing quite a chunk. That's because a lot of people choose to pay their property taxes in July. So we actually don't get our end of fiscal year dollars until August and September from our municipalities. Other than that, everything, no major changes on revenues. Expenditures. Board report expense, you're again looking for that close to 100%. Again, we don't really report all of our final expenditures until the end of July or July 31st. So our fiscal year ends on the 30th. Just tonight, the board is going to look at 6 figures worth of spending, and that's pretty typical. And then obviously, if there's a possibility, which would be amazing, we may even have some funds to put into our Fund 46 account for future building and grounds renovations. So nothing striking on the expense report. Revenues, which apparently is cash receipts, which is yellow. Nothing that I saw that was too exciting there. End of the year, lots of payments for Chromebooks, lots of end of year payments for reimbursements, getting things in right, because you have to have all your fees paid to graduate. You get a lot of students that are rushing in to get their fees paid. And it's obviously some track receipts. Yeah, I love that. Penguin Pride Towels Hair, $216. That was a fundraiser that the elementary did that Brittany, I think, actually talked about last month. So, yearbook sales was a big cash receipt at the end of the year. I don't see anything else too exciting. And that. So to the exciting one, checks and wires in the purple or pink, I'm sorry. Always the most fun. The only things that I pulled out, and obviously there weren't a lot of questions this month, which means that our system is defining our checks well. I did pull out there's a $98.96 Lions banquet certificates. The school district obviously shouldn't be paying for the Lions banquet certificates. What's happened is historically, the district office has ordered them because we order a lot of printing and then the Lions reimburse us. So that check is on its way. The only other thing, there's a $1,700 attorney fees towards the end that I caught. That is predominantly in reference to setting up and getting ready for Thursday night's meeting that the board will hold this week. Anything else in there that you didn't get a chance to ask me, but you want to ask me now when I'm not able to find the answer quickly? I can at least write it down. And again, it's never too late to send me something tomorrow and I can still get answers for you. I don't mind doing it. Otherwise, that's it. Everything's in pretty good shape. And obviously, we're going to talk a lot more about our budget as we go through a few of the action items. So this is not the last time you get a chance to ask some questions. Thank you.
All right, I would entertain a motion then to approve the payment for checks and receipts of revenue from May 27th, 2026 through June 23rd of 2026. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. On to public forum. Do we have anybody here tonight that wants to address the public forum? All right. At last month's public forum, there were a couple parents and a grandparent that had some questions. Did that stuff ever get addressed and taken care of?
Was that last month or 2 months? It was last month? Yes, all of it did. And I believe I sent an email and actually addressed each of those things.
Okay.
Yep. And I just had another meeting with the last parent who spoke.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so moving on to the consent agenda then, items A and C are on the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with items A and C? Make a motion. Second, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Yes. So is this where we discuss item B?
Once it basically, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be the next thing, because the next thing is new business.
So I have no problem approving, and the resignation part of it is a foregone conclusion, but I guess my question is, what is the plan for replacing the music teacher?
Oh, I wish you had called me ahead of time and I would have had it all printed for you. I think, so we had a meeting with Jesse and Crystal and the principals, and they have worked out a system, the 5 of us, where I believe Jesse picks up 0 to 1, 4th grade and kindergarten, and then Carla through switches. Carla actually picks up, Crystal picks up 1 more hour of duty. Jesse picks up actually virtually no new hours of duty, just different duties. And we're able to cover K-12 education with the 2 full-time teachers. So
our band teacher can teaching elementary.
kindergarten and 4th grade, which he's certified for and has done before in
They
previous
picked those
districts.
grades.
And they picked the
Crystal
grades.
and Jesse.
Yeah.
Worked out the
And he
choice.
taught in elementary before, and he's certified K-12 general music and band.
I don't know that I necessarily, it's you guys' decision and you're the ones that are responsible for this, but I just feel like we're doing our students an injustice to not have at least a part-time music teacher in the elementary. It seems like an awful lot for the for those kids to.
And if I remember correctly, just thinking back to when we hired Jesse Coles and the board when we did, that was one of the things that attracted him to our school district was the fact that he wasn't teaching K-12 anymore.
Yeah,
And that's why he
probably
applied for
true.
the Position, so
Yeah.
just for longevity of our high school staff as well, something to consider.
I guess my question would be what the availability of music teachers
Very low.
out there.
But more importantly,
Along with other programs too, but.
and more importantly, it's a matter of, in my previous district with 850 kids, we had 2 full-time music teachers that handled all the instruction. To have 3 full-time music teachers in a district with 550 kids is pretty awesome and amazing. But we are also a district that just went down enrollment, roughly 65 kids, and we're projected to go down another 20. That's now no longer $842,000 that this board needs to find. It's getting just above $1 million. Not replacing this FTE that is extravagant, that is compared to districts this size, is about $140,000 decision that this board can make without hurting a soul. Except for maybe a teacher who has to teach an extra 44 minutes a day. And do what many districts our size and larger are already doing. So this is kind of one of those, we need to find $1.1 million. Unless, or we need to enroll 60 kids, which actually I'm working on as well. But this is one of those opportunities that you gotta grab when you can. And if it doesn't work, we post the position and find another place.
I'm a little concerned about it. I just wanted to make,
Yeah,
voice
sure.
my opinion about it. I had caught wind that it was a attrition.
Yeah.
Position, earlier today, and I wanted to get clarification before I
So-
said yes or no to.
In her resignation letter, she talks about doing a reading interventionist thing. She's
Yep.
doing that here in our school?
No, in New London
Okay.
for Scott Black.
How is the temperature with the people that are taking the additional?
One, I'd say the temperature is 75 a good temperature. One I would say is right around like 78, and one is probably around 91. Not unbearable, but a little warm.
Is that gonna be issues with co-teaching to get, I just think of like the programs and all.
Those
the-
two are amazing together, actually.
Okay,
Like, that's been the saving grace. Very strong college.
okay.
I don't want to discredit either one of those two
No,
people, because I think they're fantastic people.
that's a
and
good
They're
question.
capable of doing this. I'm just not sure that, in my mind, that it's the right decision.
I will say there are 1, 2, plus those 2 teachers, plus me, 5 other people who wish it wasn't the best decision for the district. We wish that we had the money to be able to afford a 3rd music teacher. That would be ideal. I'd like to have 2 full-time reading interventionists. I'd like to have 3 teachers at every grade level K-5. But these are the things, I'm sorry. I mean, I can't, if I didn't do this, you should have concerns.
Understandable.
And to do it in as fair and kind of way as we possibly can for those 2 teachers, and to include them in that decision-making for 2 months. We
It's
did
just,
it the
it's
best.
just one of those
It's a bummer.
decisions that, it's you guys' decision, I'm not,
Micromanaging.
No, I know,
micromanaging.
I get
I'm
that.
just, when we see a resignation and aren't told what the plan is, I would like to know what the plan is, so I'm asking the plan.
Sure. And honestly, that would have been part of the exit data in the closed session tonight.
Oh,
But now it's out
okay.
there in the open. And we got to talk about it now.
So with Jesse, how's that gonna affect the lessons?
He'll have about 44 minutes less to do lessons.
Yeah.
Right now, he has 5 periods a day, and he'll have,
We'll pull it up.
they'll bring it up.
He still has full
Several.
blocks of week-long blocks that are completely open.
And
We-
with Crystal, how is she accepting all these additional classes?
Yeah. Now, remember, these aren't like high school classes that run 45 minutes a day, every day a week. It's like 2 days a week, most of these classes, so
They rotate on the elementary side.
maybe in,
So,
Monday through, it runs Monday through Friday, but they only have it twice in a week.
so
So
Jesse
third
has,
grade would only have.
Have they always had it twice in a week?
actually, that's more than they ever
We
had.
actually gained minutes.
Brittany
this year.
actually upped it.
Last year, we had to cut the second special down a little bit, which caused all sorts of problems, but this way we don't have to do that at all.
And this is still with 4K. This was the first year that 4K had specials in preparation for moving to a 5-day-a-week 4K. 5-day-a-week is still what we're doing for 4K, and they're still able to get the specials even with this plan. So some of the things that had to happen were like, there was, some study hall that Crystal and Jesse had covered. Instead of them covering study hall for those
Correct.
hours, that
Pulled
became an hour for them to have lessons. Or instead of them having kids assigned to them for impact, they don't have kids assigned to them for impact, so they can rotate those kids through for lessons during that block as well.
And we pulled a general music 7 class that we've taught forever that wasn't a requirement. We pulled that. All 7th graders, much like in 6th grade and 7th grade, all kids are gonna be in band or choir. So we're just maintaining, so all new music through 7th grade, and they start making choices from there. So, I mean, it's not perfect, but I mean, there was a lot of collaboration that went into it,
And Crystal has run a similar program before in a PAC school. Obviously, you like to go to a different school where you don't have to maybe, have that broad of a capability. But the thing that would be really hard in making decisions, looking 1 or 2 years down the road, is even if we could find a person part-time, which the chances are really slim, even if we could find that person to do a part-time position, we would only be able to really guarantee them, well, sorry, hey, in 2 years, if our budget is continuing to go down, we don't know if you'll have a job. Who's gonna want to come and take a job when you can't guarantee they're gonna be there in that position? So yes, it is really hard, but my teachers on my side have been very understanding, and they're gonna give, things are gonna be a little bit different with Jesse and with Crystal, but everybody's willing to give it a try and help each other out and understand, they're walking from the other side of the building in some circumstances, so things, might not start exactly on the dot, and everybody's been really, really good to each other, that way. It does stink when you have declining enrollment, but this isn't something that other districts aren't also having to face at the same time. So it is kind of the sad nature of the beast. We were, you don't want to say spoiled, but our district was quite spoiled for a long time, being able to have those 3 people. And Carla did a fantastic job in her role as the music teacher. So they assured us they're still going to be able to do the concerts. They're still gonna, do things that way.
Yeah, I don't wanna leave town in December and in May when concert time is.
Yeah.
To avoid the complaints.
Yeah. No, and that
That'll
was,
be the concert.
and
That'll
that
be
was,
great.
ooh,
Well, maybe there will be, but what's the quality?
Right. Some of us on this board have been through a very poor choir teacher years ago. That when she left, we had the band teacher teaching some high school choir. And quite honestly, the program was struggling. And so I'm just doing my due diligence as a board member, saying,
yeah.
are we really hurting ourselves by not replacing her? But we've got some pretty good qualified people now, where the person that was in that position, not Carla, she's been there for a long time doing a fantastic job, but on the other end, the choir programs suffered and it affected the whole program, the whole music program. So
It's doing great now. And I think, making those connections, I don't think making connections with kids before they find their way to you at the middle secondary is not a bad thing. I absolutely agree. It's not a bad thing. You have that familiarity.
And they even took that into consideration when they were figuring out who was gonna do which grade levels, because in my mind, seeing as though Jesse's, I know he's expressed he's worked primarily with older students. That's where he finds his joy, is working with the older students, because he's done that most recently. I was thinking, okay, maybe he picks up 4 or 5, but they had a great idea that Crystal doesn't want him to have the kids to fall in love with him for 2 years in a row, and then they go, and then her choir program takes a hit because they all want to do band. So that's why they're kind of splitting it up. And Jesse is he's done kindergarten before. He's getting excited about the possibility, and they had this whole rationale for why it would make sense to do it the way that they kind of thought. And obviously they're the experts in that area and we'll adjust on our end, knowing that. But I think it'll be more positive than it is negative, given the situation. I think we just have to keep our heads in that headspace moving forward.
And quite honestly, if the board says you're all wet, sit down, leave me alone. And I'll just kind of sit like.
No, but it is,
No, no,
it
those
is
are
a
good
concern,
questions.
because
And
we
no
all
matter
went
what,
back and forth. It
letting
wasn't,
you know is good.
yeah,
This
yeah.
was, and I was gonna do it later, but this is a better time, actually. It's a better fit.
Yeah.
And I would only add, would it be helpful, because you guys are talking a lot about schedules, and I can imagine when you guys are talking about how could they do that? How do they make that happen where they, would it, you know how we do special sessions on team building and data and stuff? Would you guys ever like to see how schedules are built in just a general way? It's a pretty crazy, amazing thing. And the K-5 schedule versus the middle school schedule versus the high school schedule, they're all different, and just getting your eyes on it might be really interesting. Is that something you guys might be interested in? I in reference to this, I think it's a, okay, something to think. Would you guys be okay with doing something like that? I think it'd be fun. That'd be good information, because I'd get to watch. And you do all the work. All right.
Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank
moving
you,
on.
Mark.
Thank
Great
you very much.
question.
I guess I would, I would
Yeah.
make a motion to approve item B on the consent agenda.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item 8, board information, some staffing updates. And that's just for our information. No unfinished business. We'll move on then to new business. Item A, discussion and action to approve moving graduation date, May 21st, due to a track meet.
This happens about every 5 to 7 years.
Actually, Nick wrote so
So
I actually wait
is-
for a motion.
Is the track meet the 21st or is
No, the
graduation?
sectionals
21st?
are,
Sectionals are the
That's really
28th.
early.
Sectionals are the 28th. Sectionals are the 28th.
but this year it was the 22nd was graduation, or the 20th.
Right, the last 2 years, it's been the equivalent Friday,
Yeah.
Really?
other than it was Memorial Day weekend.
So really, or really early.
And
Nick
it's
wrote a
actually,
really nice letter to WIA saying, stop doing this. And they wrote a really nice letter back saying, we're not gonna.
All right.
Sorry.
they run 48 regionals on Monday and Tuesday that week, over Monday and Tuesday. They schedule 2 nights of sectionals, Thursdays and Fridays, and usually it's the week after, like, when graduation falls like it's been, it'll be the week after Memorial Day, right? They schedule them over 2 nights, and there's only 16 sectionals. I'm like, why don't you just do them all on Thursday, and then you don't, like, it doesn't matter what week, because like the week numbers of the WI don't line up, you know, with calendar,
Right.
right? That would actually like eliminate any particular, like, why are you messing with holiday weekend? Why are you like, shouldn't need to happen. So, anyway, the last 2 years I'd like to preserve people's Memorial Weekend. I think that would be nice. They could do their parties that weekend. This would be the weekend prior. And it would probably be potentially this year and next year, depending on how,
WIA
you know, how it falls
It
out.
has happened that.
But, it's Friday night is, we've done a couple on Saturdays, and Friday night is, I just think, supremely better. And having that extra, like, there have been more pluses these last couple of years than I would have thought, you know, about having the earlier graduate, like when Memorial Day was that week earlier, like, you actually get a little bit of time in the building the last 2 weeks to kind of like adapt to those kids not being there to do some things like, otherwise it's like you get done graduation, you got 4 days left, and it's just like boom, 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 and kids are gone. If you actually have an extra 5 days with the students, and there's just different opportunities that come up that you like, you can kind of catch your breath a little bit, right? And it's not a bad thing. So I'm hoping that this is acceptable and we can do this.
What's the last day of school this year?
June 4th.
June 4th.
And like I said, it's all it's the exact same corresponding Friday to Friday, however you want to look at it, like graduation to last day of school. It's been 2 Fridays apart for the last 2 years. Pardon me?
Common sense didn't prevail.
No. Okay, so what happens is what happens is that like they run on they use week numbers. Like whatever they designate is week 1, and then it's week whatever is always sectional. And every 10 or so years, there's like a 2-year period of time where that Friday is Memorial Day Friday. And it's like, just dumb.
And we're not the only school that fights this.
No.
No.
All right, so do I have a motion to change the date of graduation to May 21st, 2027?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Item B, yeah, discussion and action to approve updating personnel on the Portage County bank accounts.
I would make a motion of, that, but I would make a suggestion of changing to have, our board treasurer be on, like, apparently Jeff Hopkins was.
I'll add something I should have put on here, but if there's a second. So there's a motion to approve, second from Dakota?
Yeah.
So Wayne is on there, as is Cindy and Mark. For some reason, Jeff was also, and has been forever, so I've been calling all month saying, hey, I need to,
Cause Jeff was the vice president.
okay. But and he never got taken off, and I said, for a
Then
month.
why do we have to have you?
Because there are moments where I should always be on it. Because Jess Beggs, the lady, and thank God for Jess Beggs,
Tony was never over.
and you don't have to put me on, but then I'm gonna be knocking on your door all the time to say, I just called again and Jess isn't there. So this whole month, I've had to rely on Jess Beggs to give me a ton of information I wasn't privy to. Because everybody else in that building said, you're not on the account. I can't talk to you about the account. I can't let you run payroll. I can't do any of these things. So it's just a really good idea to have me on there for that sort of butt coverage, especially since Melissa's only 55%. I'll probably be doing more of that stuff where I have to make the payroll call one month, or I have to make the update call, but I needed the account number for some crazy thing and I couldn't get the account number.
Yeah,
Tony wasn't on there then?
No.
I don't know if he was or wasn't. I have been in former districts. I didn't realize I wasn't until I found out I couldn't get the information I was looking for. But I don't know if Tony was or wasn't.
Do we know how much like of a sign account we are? We have 3.
3 sounds right, yeah, because I had to take Wayne down to the bank. That's funny, because one time Wayne, yeah, I don't know. This is what Jessica recommended. So the removals and the ads are butt coverage. Wayne is already on there, and I believe Mark and Cindy already are. That's why this is what the motion.
We have to be, because our names are in the checks.
Yeah, exactly,
names are on the checks, yeah.
exactly. And this is directly from Jessica, as she wrote.
So it's we 3 right now, it's we 3 and would be Melissa.
And me,
Yes.
no Jeff.
Right now,
Right now, it's you 4. It's Jeff,
well,
Wayne, Mark, Cindy,
And Cindy.
and Cindy. And we're removing Jeff and Cindy and putting on Jamie and Melissa. On both accounts.
All right, any other questions or discussion? So we have a motion to
What's
approve
that?
updating the personnel, yep. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
no.
What was the, who were we electing on it?
Basically, exactly
Just as
What it
it's
says
you see
here.
written here.
Adding
Okay,
Jamie.
so we don't
and
have
Melissa.
to do like we did the last meeting or whatever. I oppose.
Can I make a quick recommendation that we, only just, obviously Jeff is Jeff, but it's also,
Let him
can
know.
we add that, well, no, can we add it so that every time we elect a new round of officers, that there's also a notification that
April.
gets done that that those meetings get to the bank, if anything needs to be added, subtracted.
So if you think of our
Because the
April
offices
meeting,
change.
there's that CISA
Yes.
person, there's
Yeah,
that, we
because
just
I mean,
added
Jeff
that
has been
meeting.
on the board for how long?
I know,
So,
6 years.
Yeah,
7.
that should have been
Yeah.
obviously well done by
Yeah.
now, so
Yeah.
just that we could just add that to the April. And the
Yeah,
counts are going.
that's-
And it was literally when Jess Begg said, you need to clean this up, and you need to add yourself and Melissa, and you need to get rid of, and that's when I found out Jeff was even on there, and have been for 7 years. Okay, thank you.
So motion carries.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to item C, discussion and action to approve updating co-curricular pay scales beginning July 1st, 2026. That's in your
It's hard to read because it was sideways. but-
packet. Yep.
We've been working on this for a long, long time. There was a committee with Jamie Helmrich, Jess Rutler, Peter Dassel, Nick, myself, Nate Detler, representing the Booster Club president. Anybody else? I feel like there was a few more people there that, and if you, were you there? Okay, and Cindy and Wayne. So we've all been a part of this long discussion. You're looking at sort of the final recommendation. The highlights are, it's simple. So there's not 9 steps. There's basically a 0 to 2. And correct me if I'm wrong, because we've looked at a lot of options and I'm not looking at it in front of it. No, it is. There's a 0 to 3 years, a 4 to 6 years, and a 7+. And they're all very similar. They're based on hours and rates of pay on the right. So if we ever adjust this, all we have to look at are the rates of pay up on the upper right. They cost the district about $34,000. That's significant, but it puts us still at probably the low end of coaches' pay, but it gets us a lot closer.
Definitely rights the ship.
It rights the
at
ship.
high school level a lot, and like looking at it, like it's a lot cleaner. We had, you know, if you've been on this group, that other document was very messy and kind of arbitrary. Like,
It was
so
a
this,
disaster.
like fall, like when we started looking at it, fall and spring seasons are almost to the day. Like we counted them as the same time frame, same number of days. The rate of a varsity head coach is the same. Doesn't matter. The daily rate is the same.
Right.
Per day, no matter what season. It's just however many days the season is.
Yeah.
Winter is a longer season because it's a longer season. Like it's nice and clean, and hopefully makes right a lot of, you know, for folks. We have folks that have comparatively to other places.
The other highlight,
the last for quite a while.
on-staff bonuses. That's something you want to know that you're approving. An on-staff bonus for a head varsity coach would be $500. An on-staff bonus for a high school assistant would be $400, and an on-staff bonus for a middle school head would be $250. We just want to encourage our staff. It's so much more valuable to me when I have a teacher coaching. They're building relationships inside and outside the classroom. It's really nice if you can get those on-staff coaches. So to have a little encouragement,
Building is important.
and to have really, I mean, certified teachers teaching, even if it's a sport, is often, not always, but often a much better thing for our kids.
How would you, the only thing I have a question is for our youth program. If you have like head coach of the 3rd grade team,
Yeah.
which wouldn't qualify as the middle school
Yeah.
bonus, or
So
youth wrestling.
the
that's
youth
something-
program is completely separate and kind of sort of, although I know it's all through Fund 80, right?
Yep.
So it's a whole separate program that we'd have to look at separately, and we have to kind of be careful to make sure that it's separate from our school function. These are our school coaches. Our youth program is a community service program that we help support.
Question.
But it's a great question. So do we do on-staff bonuses for in our youth program? And that maybe is a committee that you should be a part of, and some of these folks with young kids, if those need adjustment, I kind of feel like they were getting paid okay. I don't even know. I mean, the AD is getting a ton of money.
Well, I just, from participating and witnessing, it'd just be nice to have,
Something.
review that.
Okay.
portion of it.
Let's do that. I mean, again, aren't some of those like 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st grade coaches, in my experience, have been a lot of volunteers. Do we? We're not. Do we even have a motion on this?
No, we don't.
Sorry.
Don't yet, but-
Sorry, so moved by Dakota. Second by Brady.
Okay.
The code motion?
But those are good points. So let's put that on the future agenda. To do just a meeting
Okay.
for that. Liz will run.
All right.
I'll run.
I have
It'll
a
be great.
motion and a second to approve the updating of the co-curricular pay scales. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. All right, moving on to item D, discussion and action to approve bleacher bids for installation in the high school gym. Again, that bid was in your packet.
Actually, the RFP was in the packet because the bids
Oh,
weren't
the
due.
RFP was in the packet.
So I've got all the bids here. I'm gonna hand them around. And I didn't print 10 copies because I thought you're basically, I will hand them around, but what you need to know is 138, 128. BSM Sports came in at, it says 138,000. It's actually 124. 14 of that is removal. At this point, the Lions have agreed, I think at our last meeting, we agreed that we would lead the removal of the old bleachers. We certainly accept help from non-Lions, but we're gonna take care of that $14,000 cost. I mean, we're gonna do it ourselves, so that would be 124 for BSM.
And this is just high school, correct?
This is just the varsity gym at this time. Yep, they wanna go separate up. 128 for a company called Carroll. These are the 3 companies that responded to our bids. They're all, in local schools. They're all highly rated. And then 112, so 113 for North Star, for Trowbridge, North Star Equipment out of Milwaukee. So 128, 124, and 113.
So this one, the 128, does not include the
Correct.
14,000 for the.
That's why I gave you the 124. So we have 128, 124, and 113.
When you're looking at these bleachers, how are you, I mean,
have you looked at any?
Yes, so Iola just used Trowbridge, BSN, where did they were someplace close. This process started back in September, so I looked at Wild Rose bleachers, I looked at the Iola bleachers. Somebody did the bleachers in Rapids from this group. And they're all, the specifications, if you saw the RFP, were extremely explicit. So they had to meet, I think it was Trowbridge who helped write the RFP. They were the most desirable product that I saw at Iola that I really liked.
So why aren't you taking that bid?
I would, but I don't want to make that decision alone. I want the public to know that this board also agreed that that was the right decision.
yeah, I guess I'm wondering, I generally there's a difference in, there's a reason for price difference.
True.
And so that's why that's what I'm.
You're absolutely right.
Sometimes the lowest bid is.
The best. And that's why I started by saying these are all comparable and all trustworthy companies. Because you're right, there are times where I will tell this board, don't take the lowest bid.
Well,
Yeah,
not-
if you've seen the product, that's.
Yeah,
one
that's-
thing, but if you haven't.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like
So
is
then-
that we're just getting
North
it
Star
and
Equipment
we're
is
having to
Trowbridge.
make a decision right at the meeting.
Which is actually the cheapest of.
Yeah.
So you, in terms of the one that you liked the best was.
Trowbridge.
Trowbridge.
Which is actually. the
Which
one
is
we got.
always-
North Star in your hand.
North
The
Star.
cheapest, which is also the lowest price.
And why do you like that one more than these other 2?
Honestly, they're all good. I would say, they're all the same. They're all the same product because they all follow the same RFP. So why? And they all had great support. The responsiveness of Sam at BSN and the fella at Trowbridge were both really great. They were very helpful.
Same as that.
Have you talked with any of the schools?
Yep.
About, have you had any warranty claims? Have you had any?
Nothing, no concerns. And this again started in September. So, and again, this is in the budget, so it doesn't need your approval. I just prefer it. Cause that's a nice thing to have.
That's nice.
Yeah.
$118,000.
Right.
What's the back? I'm confused by the back sheet of this one. It says
Let me see it.
53,000. And then there's a trade.
Yeah,
difference.
that's something I'm going to be handing out during the next action item.
Oh,
So you wanna hand that back to me?
Well, wait a minute, the line's taking them up for trade.
Hopefully, I've honestly talked to a couple of people and said, if you have a trailer, if we want to be official, we'd have to do an actual public auction. And give every resident in the district equal access to purchase them, or we could pile them on the curb and and if they disappear, they disappear. Or we could have somebody charge us. My hope is that somebody will say, yeah, I'll take those. And it'll be somebody who's helping us tear them down.
They'd be better off because they're newer than the elementary, taking out elementary and moving them and installing them on elementary.
You're
No,
right, they would be
Yeah.
like retrofitting, yeah.
you
And
got
then
the
you'd
sizes are
almost be-
different.
Oh.
Are they even legal?
You probably can't install
And you
Go
can't,
up.
well,
them. You know what I'm
Is
saying?
it-
Oh, yeah, you can't use them as bleachers. No, I'm hoping someone will take the wood to build a treehouse for their kid. No, nobody can use these as bleachers. And literally, like, Jody just helped us get rid of a weight machine with a small thing, and somebody had asked, oh, can I buy that from you? Absolutely not. Not to be used as a weight machine. Nope, you can use it as a paperweight. You can use it to hold your barn door shut, but you cannot use it as a weight machine. Oh, there you go.
Disappear out his front yard. I think the curbside thing might work. As long as there's disclaimer.
So-
Line, and we want to come back and pick it up.
yeah, really.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess I would make a motion to approve the purchase of new bleachers for the high school gym from the, North Star.
Okay, thank you.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. So we have a first and a second to approve bid from Trowbridge North Star for the installation of new high school bleachers. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, then, moving on to, who's that one? Item E, discussion and action to approve vehicle bids for purchase of new school vehicles.
Might as well get the motion in a second.
I don't know what I'm voting on.
You're not voting, you're just moving to put it on the table.
Well, is this from, like, previous conversation
Yeah.
where the whole thought of like buying multiple
Yeah.
vehicles?
True.
Okay.
Just
That's
put
why,
it,
that's why I would like to see it before.
I know, cause I don't wanna, I wanna.
well, anyway, a motion, Robert's rules, a motion and a second put on the table. Thank you, Wayne.
Don't mean I'm gonna vote yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Do I have a second?
Birdie second.
All right.
Okay, yeah, you can absolutely vote no.
You know my feeling.
I know. I'm gonna get you to vote on Robert's rules.
Research that.
Okay, you should.
I will.
Okay, so let's start with the easy one. I had sent out, several, Greg Jones included, several asked for a highest amount of legal seats. I have pages and pages of emails with our liability insurance carrier. We cannot, our liability insurance carrier can I have 159 wheelbase van? That's exactly what Watoma has. That's what Almond Bancroft has. Can I have one of those? Liabilities answer, long after days of arguments, is absolutely not. Well,
Well, then how are they getting?
Well, that, yeah, exactly.
because they are taking the risk, according to our liability insurance man, they are calling the company that installs the seats and saying, only put 10 seats in. Because then we meet federal and state laws that say, if it is made to carry 10 or more passengers, it is considered a school bus and needs a stop sign and lights, you need a CDL to drive it, needs to be painted a specific color, needs to pass state trooper inspection every year, blah, 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 blah. If it's made to carry more than 10 people, including the driver. So they buy a 159-inch wheelbase that can carry 15 passengers or more, and they only put 10 seats in, and they feel good about it. My guy and his lawyer, because his lawyer wrote me a brief that I can share with you guys, I should, it was really fascinating, and it got me to where I am. I think it's a good place. The brief said, absolutely 148 inches and higher, we will not cover if you get in an accident, and we believe that any school district that gets in an accident with that bus will find out that they are not covered by their liability. Any insurance company with half a brain will say, nope, you broke the law. Your taxpayers are on it, not the liability insurance payer. It's not a risk I'm willing to take with my taxpayers, our taxpayers, your taxpayers. That's just not worth it. And I was told in writing, you're not covered. Dodge ProMaster, so the Mercedes is out, the Ford Transit is out. I got a bid on a Ford Expedition for $80,000 and the Chevy Suburban, whatever the big thing is, for $80,000. I finally found a ProMaster. There's a 118-inch wheelbase and a 136-inch wheelbase Dodge ProMaster. A company called Waldock, the same one that Alman Bancroft used, the same one that does the Ford Transits, the same one does the Mercedes-Benz. Waldock out of Minnesota takes all of these vans and converts them into passenger vehicles. Yeah. Waldock, and that price is part of this, will take a Dodge ProMaster with a 136-inch wheelbase that has not ever been used, that is meant for 9 seats and a driver and a little bit of storage, and we'll put windows in and put the seating in, the storage in, and make sure the air conditioning. And my insurance guy said, yep, that's under 148 inches, that passed. So we will get a 10-person van. Expedition and Yukon, I think, are only 9. So we're getting that 10th person. We're getting the biggest we can get. It's as big as them and as big as them. It's a little less storage, but we're getting all that. And the best bid, of course, there's only one bid, is $66,580. So $15,000 less than the Expedition, the Yukon, the whatever. That is less useful.
Who's that from?
This is from Peterson and Wapaka. Is that a place? Peterson Dodge? Yeah. Jim Farrell. Science teacher at Newman. I'm sure it's not.
So the current bus we have doesn't,
The current van is out.
well, the van, I know that, but what about the bus?
The current bus has 2 issues. The current bus, we predominantly pay for repairs, Wendy's hours. All of that gets reimbursed by Medicaid. It makes it somewhat affordable. The bus has 260,000 miles. It's on its last legs. Medicaid, as of July 1st, 2026, is going to get really, really snotty about cheating. All school districts take their special ed bus and pick up their special ed kids. And if you have an emotional disability, if you have a behavior disability, we'll pick you up on the special ed bus. And boy, if there's 2 kids and if your 2 sisters are on the same route, we're going to pick you up too. Every district does this. And I just talked with Barbie about this. She's like, oh my God, we do it all the time, man. Now Medicaid, to fix that problem, is saying unless you have an apparent physical disability that requires a special education bus, we will not reimburse you.
And how do they enforce that?
Good question. This is why all good superintendents cheat a little bit. But that one I'm a little nervous about cheating about, and so is Barbie, because it's like this new July 1 law. Good news is we have 1 kid who would need the wheelchair seating. Barbie, and I think this is genius, is going to encourage us to buy another van like this using only Fund $27. We can use it for that student with a wheelchair. We're getting reimbursed at 45 to 50%, or using full through dollars at 100% reimbursement. We're not using our Fund $10. And after 3 years, Fund 10 can inherit that van, and Fund 27 can go and buy a new one. So in the future, we're going to be spending even less than what I think is a pretty good deal on these school vehicles. But right now, we need a van, and I think this is a pretty fair price point.
How many kids on that bus?
How many kids are on that bus right now? Gosh, I would say 8 or 9. 7. It's close to 8 or 9.
And so this is in replacement of.
This is replacing the Dodge Caravan. The silver bullet.
The silver bullet.
The 2010
The
Dodge
smelly
Caravan.
shoe that we're referring
The
to.
next dead.
It is dead and gone.
All, it too could be taken, probably at no cost by anybody.
Right.
Yeah, probably next to it. It is next to it somewhere. It should be like a little hunting stand or something. Here the lines would go in the.
Okay,
All right, so where are you?
so we're in there. We did get a motion in second. Wayne and Brady. For the vehicle. So the second vehicle, while you're looking at that bid, and that was the only bid that came in on it. And I
Not
ran.
even one complaint, huh?
Nope, no. They said they couldn't get anywhere near that price. And that was,
That make me suspicious.
well, I think this guy, and this is these are bid certified, so they have to go. Doesn't do the bid certification, so they don't do the Wisconsin Certified Bid Program. And that makes me suspicious. I mean, car companies that refuse to do the Wisconsin Certified Bid Program for public education, like you're really trying to milk us for money, but. So I also called Ford, Dodge, and Chevy, and I said, I'm looking for a small sedan, highly fuel efficient, to get to meetings in Portage and to CWC meetings and meetings in Matoma, which is the good chunk of our daily driving and our mileage costs. Board members going to Mass, you know, couple, 3 board members hop in this vehicle. That's reliable-ish, you know, more reliable than the Silver Bullet. Probably a little better on snowy roads. Every American car company said, Mr. Delakuski, we don't do that anymore.
Nope.
We've put all our eggs in the SUV and pickup truck basket. You're gonna have to look at Hondas, Toyotas, Hyundais. So I thought, man, I really want to buy something built in America. They're all built in America. So the Hyundais are built in Alabama, the Hondas are built in Indiana, the other one's built in Kentucky. And the only one that even put a car in was Greg. He put in a used Ford Focus hybrid. That's the only car that was built in Mexico. So the Toyota, the Hyundai, and the Honda are all built in America by American workers. The Ford is built in Mexico. I don't know who got it. So the only prices I got the best price we got was this is from Greg. Was from Greg Jones. It was a Hyundai Elantra hybrid, $25,000.
Is this new?
Brand new.
Brand new.
And again, I think that might have been
Have air conditioning.
you got to roll up the windows, and there's a hole in the floor for your feet. For the
The
that's the
windows do
high.
roll up and down.
They do. They do.
High gear or brakes?
And I honestly,
And the cassette.
To kind of
Track.
take a step back, yeah, and if all of car companies are going to the small SUV, which in a lot of cases have,
I could get like up to 35 miles.
yeah, potentially even better, road handling in weather conditions.
Sure.
'cause I've owned some of them.
Yep.
Were they competitive in price, or did you not look at them?
They were always I got one Jeep Compass, and it was about $15,000 more. Jeep, is it a Compass or something? else?
Cherokee.
Red gave me? Yeah, that was the only one that came in.
Oh, I was thinking more along the lines of like the,
A little Chevy
Chevy
Traverse.
no, not the Trax, maximum, the
Equinox?
Equinox, those kinds of.
Those, and now you're losing
Ton of them.
a good chunk of gas mileage.
You are, you
So-
are. If you stay with the 2-wheel drive,
And with gas where it's at,
I understand.
it's significant. So there was a Prius that I just gave you for 35,000. I got another Prius for 37,000.
And that one is that a hybrid or is
It's
it?
a hybrid. That Hyundai is built in Alabama, and it's a hybrid that gets
I didn't look,
54
but I
miles to the
see
hour.
This one is a true hybrid.
And that's the Greg Jones. I just nice buying local.
So I'm not into electric cars, but does a hybrid have to be plugged in or?
Nope.
does it?
No.
It generates its own power from engine braking.
At least the Prius does. I don't know what the Honda
Is
And
there
the-
still,
Is the yes.
is there any energy credits like still going on? Like what we see?
No,
in
those got
Florida
canceled
from
last
the-
year. And those you'd only get those on the plugins.
The first one, the one from Greg does say plug-in hybrid. Right on the top, plug-in hybrid.
Oh, like it has that option?
I'm sure
Maybe.
where's the blue cars?
That'd be kinda cool.
Except then you have to have.
But it's not a
See where it
plug-in
says
plug-in.
What's the plug-in?
It's like a, do you guys remember the Chevy Volt?
Yeah.
It was a gas engine, but you could plug it in for your first 30 miles, 50 miles, 70 miles. That's what it would mean. If it's called a plug-in hybrid, that hybrid part means it's a gas engine, but you have that option for your trips to
Did you read
Watoma.
that? Do you see where it?
I was looking at the warranty.
Okay.
Is this probably the best warranty out of both of them?
What is it? Is it 10? Is it 10, 100? I know one of them said 10, 100.
Well, Prius does plug-in hybrid on it too.
Maybe that's the one I saw.
Yeah, that might, and one of those, so Sean also has a Prius, maybe one's a plug-in, one's
This
not.
is plug-in hybrid system.
Oh, that's what he sent us.
HP motors.
So that's probably why it's a little bit more.
Low voltage cable.
I knew I read it somewhere.
Yeah, you
I
did.
thought I read it on that one.
I mean, again, Hyundai Elantra it's a highly rated car. It's a local person. It's Greg. I like that, and I like that it's the lowest price. And it is basic. I mean, it is power windows. It does have the Apple CarPlay. It's not that basic, but it's
Basic is pretty well equipped anymore.
pretty well equipped.
You
Basic,
are-
yeah.
Said it had crank windows.
It doesn't. It actually has power windows. Right, work truck. Yeah.
Manual transmission.
Yeah. Hey, that will be the catch.
Do you think they even make that?
Not very often. It's hard to find. So again, in the budget, but both things are needed, both things there, and I guess here's what the board needs to know. We actually need to purchase these by June 30th. So this is how dollars work. If we don't spend them, we're just gonna put it in Fund 46, so it'll still be okay. But if you don't spend your budget dollars, it does affect your primary funding for the following year. So you will lose dollars next year if you don't spend the dollars this year. Putting it in Fund 46 saved us from that, because they consider that an expenditure. Yeah.
So if you don't end up, hypothetically speaking, if we don't approve portion of this purchase, can we significantly they get spent elsewhere by June 30th?
Be pretty tough.
I'm just thinking that like, there's so much else we could spend in the school other than having 2 and then possibly 3 vehicles in the next 3 years, when we could have 2, one will be portion, I'm just thinking, you know, we need
Yeah.
playground equipment, we need,
Getting
I'm
that
sure
too.
there's probably lots of supplies that
Yeah.
maybe didn't hit, you know, initially hit budget this year. I'm just thinking of other things that we could use other than having 3 vehicles for our size of a.
And it's only 2, but I would
Well, no, but you know
yeah.
what I mean, like, the plan is right, we're gonna buy a,
potentially.
potentially.
That's a what if. So what's on the table today is a van and a fuel efficient vehicle. I would say, given all those things, this is one of those things that the district has said it would be a good, wise purchase. We got to get one of them. And if we get the van, which makes sense for the FFA and the athletes and everything else, and you don't get this, now you're sending this 3/4 ton van down the road to a CISA meeting for one person. This is pretty practical. There's a lot of different things we could purchase, but I don't know what else.
Well, have you done sorry, Sean, have you done the cost analysis though of like all the hypothetical, the one-off meetings that we go to, reimbursing, get like federal gas mileage?
Yeah.
Are we actually saving?
Tons. Right now with the reimbursement up close to $1, 72 cents a mile. If we were sending people, and then when you buy this Hyundai Elantra, you don't just buy it, you say that has to be the primary vehicle. If this vehicle is available, you have to use it, Jamie. You have to use it, Nick. You have to use it, Brittany. You have to use it, group of 3 teachers. And you're not reimbursing. If this is available, you're not reimbursing. But yeah, this thing at 54 miles to the gallon, compared to 72 cents a mile, I mean, think about it, what's home on back is $50, is what you're paying me or Nick or Brittany if we're going now. And that happens a ton.
And that's if it gets used.
If the vehicle gets used.
Yeah.
Right. But this one, it would be required. Like, if you're gonna use it.
Say that, but
Or you want, but
I
you
can
just,
tell you that I'm gonna use it.
Right,
When I
right,
don't, I
right.
use my own and turn in my mileage and it gets paid and life is good.
right.
Yeah,
Right,
you
but
have
we
to-
just don't
you
do
have
that.
to- You have to check a check mark box. Anybody that uses it,
Yeah.
or anybody that doesn't use it, that submits for mileage, has to check a checkoff box that the vehicle.
and we have a
that
calendar and maintains
that
a
this-
calendar of vehicles.
The district vehicles were not available to
Yep.
use.
So if you turn in a mileage on June 23rd, and we take Ann's calendar and it says van was available on June 23rd, you don't get reimbursed.
Would just somebody check that?
We would if we had this. I don't make people take the silver bullet because people were nervous about it. People were very uncomfortable trying.
It was scary.
So I didn't feel comfortable forcing that, and it wasn't saving us money at 15 miles an hour. Nor would this save us money at 15 miles an hour, or 18. But this would be one where, yes, we would and should and will do that, because it now makes sense.
And one other question about the van or whatever you call that thing. If Wendy's bus takes a crap, can she use this?
Yes. And we can actually then charge, it'll be a lot of work for Melissa, We can charge
Well,
that use to special. ed.
No,
Yep,
but it could be used,
correct.
okay.
Yes.
It has accessible.
It has everything. She would use our Silver Bullet when her bus took a crash. Sometimes she'd have to call a wheelchair bound student and say, can mom transport? And then we'd reimburse mom. But that's what she normally used until recently.
The Waldorf conversion has the wheelchair accessibility.
Yep.
on
Everything.
So what are the biggest problems with the bus? Because I see a lot of times there's a lot of fixing and
Well, it's mostly Little Jim, but what, I guess the scariest one is what you saw was a fix of cylinder 6. So they did a new spark plug or igniter and they cleaned it all up. And then about 2 months later, it went back in and they said, oh, your air filter was dirty. That cost me $400. A week later, I was following her on the interstate. It was losing power. We actually had to pull off on D and park right there at that Heartland Farm thing. Had it towed again. Turns out cylinder 6 had no compression. So then they fixed that, and now now it's been running okay for about a month and a half. But it's got 260,000 miles. And those buses, it's about a year out, and they're getting close to $500,000.
And Wendy beats.
That woman drives so fast. She goes flying over all the speed bumps.
If she were here.
She box your ears.
Yeah, she was.
She would. She's the best.
All right, any other discussion?
I'm just gonna throw it out there. I would love to see. I'm not opposed to voting for the extra vehicle, but I would really like to see that it's actually going to save us money versus just hearing that, yes, you know what I mean? I would really love to see how many trips we're actually taking and reimbursing, like over a year's time or the life of the car time
Yeah.
in comparison to, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just data driven and to.
It would be thousands and thousands of dollars. But remember, it's not that we're replacing this. I mean, you guys could remember, if you choose not to do these, then you're either paying a bunch of parents to transport their students all those times that the bus company craps out on us, and you're
Sorry.
paying even more to employees at 72 to 75 cents a mile, and you're reimbursing every single trip now. Because the van was used, oh my gosh, almost daily.
Well, I'm not saying no
Yeah.
to the van. I think that's very important that we have that. I'm saying no to, I'm having issues saying yes to both.
Sure.
The thing and I kind of agree with you, Dakota, is, we're replacing probably a $25,000 vehicle that van when we bought it with $85,000-$90,000
Yeah.
when you start looking at the two combined.
But we didn't buy that
Vehicle
van,
costs,
we used it, Tony got that
Yeah.
somewhere used.
Right.
But I think we paid, if I remember correctly, I think we paid in the 20-inch.
Right. Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like,
And I didn't realize it would be this much work, but if you want, I mean, again, it would be too late for this year and we'd lose a lot of money, but Teresa could come and present why this is so important to her and why she wants it so much. I could have 4 or 5 coaches come in the ADs and present on how much money this would save and why it's so important to them. Especially now that our teams are getting much smaller, our cross-country team is 7 kids. Our middle school teams, our basketball team was, I think, 5 or 6 kids last
but
year.
they would be taking the van.
They would be taking this
I'm
van all
not
the time.
questioning that. I'm questioning a small electric vehicle
But the
alongside.
vast majority of our travel on a day-to-day basis it's 1 to 3 employees traveling down to see Sophia, traveling over to Watoma,
And that's where I'm
traveling to
questioning is like those 1
Yeah.
to 2 here and there
Yeah.
and everywhere.
Iowa
I would
for
love to
CISA
see that
for
cost
services.
analysis.
It would be
versus
huge.
Buying something.
Jess and I don't take,
You won't take that.
Jess and
Right.
I have never taken the van and we've never put in reimbursement because I don't trust the van. So I have never driven our school van since, the last 2 years. I just don't turn in reimbursement because it is
It's nice of you,
available,
but it's
but I
also-
won't ride, I
Yeah.
won't drive.
And
Bad
what would be
for
the
us.
difference with, because
I'm just saying, like,
when
I
we
don't,
bought the van, it wasn't new, so why do we need new? I mean, is there certified used that are out there a lot?
There was a used, Ford Focus,
You know
but
what
it
I
was
mean?
fine.
Like, if we're
Listen,
being
we
budget
can table it, but it's gonna cost us a lot of money, and that's fine. There was a Ford Focus hybrid that was used, that was $4,000 more than the one, that Greg wanted. you could buy a 2023 Ford Focus hybrid for $5,000 more, but yeah, I mean,
So to quantify the price versus the cost of distance per mile, you go about 35,000 miles. Covers the cost, not the operation, just the cost of the purchase of them.
wow.
Okay?
Yep.
So you gotta have, and there's gonna be fuel. I mean,
Yeah.
it's 54 miles per gallon, but
Right, it's
you know,
still
there's
some
gonna be,
fuel.
there's gonna be upkeep and maintenance to that. So if I were to guess with the cost of the vehicle, some fuel, some maintenance, about 50,000 miles worth of travel, we're gonna be at the break-even point unless the battery takes crap or the car cracks in that.
The advantage to new is the warranty.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Somebody, I mean, for 25, it's $25,000. But if you go to buy and say you can find something for $20,000, you don't have any warranty behind it. And all of a sudden the motor hatches, and you got $15,000 and trying to crack this car apart where you gotta just about rip the front end off of it to get to the motor. I mean, I've never owned one.
Right.
First to admit, I've never owned one, never will. I wouldn't wanna, I'd be scared to look under the hood, probably maybe how packed that is, and hell, I'd be scared riding it, because there's a lot of bigger vehicles on the road than that thing, so. But
Yours.
you know, in terms of, so to give us an idea, maybe the usable life of the vehicle, that's why I agree with you. How many miles are reimbursed on it, you know, even if we, a general, not to press you for a number.
I know, I wish that.
But that
Right,
helps
but that-
quantify.
Probably
that.
20,000?
That would have been helpful knowing coming into
Good,
this of like.
and yeah, I wish you had asked, but
Sorry.
I would say 20,000, probably 20,000 is a low estimate. Good problem.
So
I mean,
you got 3.5 years.
2 years.
You know, give or take. It's
I guess
2.5
one
if it goes really well.
of the things that
No problems. And it's 3.5 of it, you have a oops and you bag a deer.
one of the things that bothers me, I guess, with the van.
Yeah.
I'm not against the van. I think it's needed, but if we're
Yeah.
going to use
They
that,
both are.
if it needs to be used because we don't buy the little car.
Yeah.
To me, that seems like it's much more of a, what I want to word it. The driver needs to be much more cognizant of maintaining that vehicle because it's so much heavier, bigger.
It's a large, yeah, we'll have the same issue. A lot of people just won't buy it because they're intimidated by large.
Right, it's gonna be intimidating to drive.
Yeah.
So. That tells me it probably won't get used as much.
True.
This little car is a lot better.
This one, any
for-
teacher in the district will hop in and go to
Absolutely.
CCI. And it is typical, I guess I should say, it is very typical that a district like Wachoma or Algonquin has a van like this for sports and for FFA and for student use and a small fuel efficient, low cost car. That's very, very normal. I don't know how they do it. A lot of districts actually have that third middle sized van. I can't imagine. I mean, obviously I'm looking at the least expensive practical options for us, but.
So the ramifications of, say, tabling the car until next month, the money goes into a different fund.
No, the ramifications are then that money wouldn't come out of this year's budget anymore.
But you said there's a fund that it can go into.
But that fund is only for buildings and grounds improvements, so we could never get
Can't get it
the,
back up.
no, not for the vehicle, and we'd have to wait. I think we have 2 more years left on our fund phase.
And if I understand, you're telling me then the equation for our federal or state funds is lessened because of that as well.
Potentially, but I would just ask you guys in the July meeting to put more in fund 46. You would just,
So in other words, if we didn't go with both of them,
right,
then you just throw it in that 40.
no matter what, we should, yeah, any excess would have to go there. That's your safety valve, yep, fund 46. But then you'd have a lot of costs and reimbursement of miles next year. I mean, now you'd be reimbursing more because you don't even have that option.
I
It-
get-
It's very much the norm, but yeah, if you guys don't want to do it, don't do it.
I guess my opinion would be that we would both do them both, but if we did, I would like to see every 6 months or
A reimbursement thing, or mileage?
how much we're,
Oh, it's a good
how much
idea.
it's costing or how much is going out to other vehicles.
Just remind me. Yeah, that sounds great. That's easy peasy, because I can just literally take Ann's form and then share it with you.
Well, I can't believe that we have the money, and we do, and it's really just,
Yeah.
it's good to have a problem like this.
Yes, it is.
But, and the cost, again, from years past, not being able to spend money, not having
Right.
any money. And, but I would, and I agree with Jim, I think we should buy both of them, and I think we should do that. And the check and balance of it is a good idea if you want,
Yep.
but, I just think that, financially, it pushes me to say yes.
And as much
And
as
I can't believe I'm saying that, spending all that money.
as much as I like the thought behind, like, are there other things we could have spent it on, like the playground or whatever? Even looking into the Kindness Club funds and then some Fund 27 that Barbie's allocating to get some adaptive, PE equipment and some additional, playground equipment that'll be ADA compliant. It's so much money that our money isn't going very far. So in order for us to look at like future planning for the playground, what our funds that we're fundraising for now are really gonna only be replacing small things that have broken. And we're really gonna have to be looking at grant opportunities because one, even if you took $25,000, you're not getting hardly anything. That's gonna be something where we're gonna have to look at a different way to fund that than,
Fund 46 can cover playground.
yes,
And playgrounds right now, the last one I built was $570,000.
Yeah.
And that was
Do
a
we-
small
Do
one.
we do a lot of grant writing? We're gonna.
we need to.
We do when we can, but there's just
We
not
need
enough,
to.
we can't afford a grant writer, but
Can't we do a
we-
fractional, like look into?
we do some grant writing, but not for the vehicles. I
No,
don't
I'm
think.
just saying in general,
Oh,
like,
in
all,
general?
like, in my mind, I'm like, man, there's so much more things that I think we could spend all this money on, but I also think about how much money is probably sitting out there for socioeconomically challenged districts like ours.
Yeah.
That are probably just sitting there, not even getting remotely tapped into.
Yeah.
Sure.
If there was
There was a guy that I connected with at the principals convention last year, and every year when it gets to be like springtime, he works for a company called Burke that does playgrounds, and they reduce everything down like by 50%, but then he has a partner company that he works with that does grant writings, so that his company is getting the sale of the equipment.
Oh,
However, a school is getting the equipment for free. It's just putting a committee together and then aligning all of those things and trying to figure out what we want, what needs to be replaced, and then how it's gonna be installed. Cause part of the problem too, that we're running into is Scott and Chris are only Scott and Chris. So you're taking on a lot of liability when you're putting in larger structure type things, and we're running into the issue of even having enough time for Scott to be able to kind of like replace or remove things that are broken. Like his focus right now for this upcoming year into fall needs to be to get the stuff off the playground that's gonna be a liability
Yeah.
because it's damaged or it's, past its wear and tear. And then we'll know how much space we have. We'll be able to kind of have somebody like expert that out with us.
yeah.
on
See, that was a
it.
nice thing when we installed the playground down in Hancock. That was one of the things that the committee put together was that they had the like SMEs of building it, if you will, but
Yeah.
all of the volunteers came in and volunteered time of, putting the equipment together, monitored by the individual.
Yeah.
So you had all of the volunteer hands, which I'm sure we would get a plethora of them around
absolutely.
here, all the groups that would want to volunteer, and then that made it pretty
Yeah.
cost
Lions put in a couple of parts, including
Mhm.
with the splash pad.
for sure.
My only thought would be, if we do that at school grounds, we were able to do it with the village. Will the law allow us to do it in the school ground?
That's a good question. I hope so, but.
All right, let's get.
Yeah,
the card.
thank you,
Yeah,
Cindy.
because
Yes.
I
We have a motion in a second.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to know,
No,
those are some of the
the
things
wheels
that like we
turning.
have.
Okay, we have a motion
Thank you.
and a first and a second to approve vehicle bids for purchase.
I think it should be, that would be appropriate to, Wayne, you made the motion to approve, vaguely to approve. You wanna narrow that down to two specific vehicles or
That's why I'm gonna research it.
As presented?
Are we motioning for both together?
Yep. That's how it's presented. So the ProMaster and the Hyundai.
Okay, that's what I said.
Is that what you seconded? Okay.
That's why I don't like doing the
Right.
motion ahead of time, but
Okay.
now is everybody okay with that? Understand?
We're about to tell you.
All right.
Can you vote?
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries then. All righty,
I just wanted to make sure that I was voting
Right.
for the right vehicle.
that, yeah, I understand. Very good. All right.
Did we give them that?
Pardon me?
Do you have
Yes.
the specifics? I missed.
Yep, ProMaster and the alarm,
Okay, I'm sorry.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on, correspondence, do we have any correspondence? All right, then, item 12, reports. We have items A through F, starting with the annual library report, which is in our board packets.
Mhm.
Did everybody have a chance to look at that?
Yes.
Okay, we have the seclusion and restraint order, the report, I'm sorry.
My question on that was, why was there an increase, this year?
Well,
I can tell you that it wasn't an increase in number of students, it was an increase in events.
and the
That
events, it was
explains it.
actually two events, but you have to specify seclusion and restraint separately. So it comes up as 4 total events, but it was 2 incidents. So like if you would have to have like a partner assist to walk a student down the hall because they're being unsafe or they're hurting somebody, that counts as a restraint because you're holding them and you're removing them to the office. Once you get them to the office, if they're out of control and we're using our seclusion room to say, go take a break in the seclusion room, or whatever it may be, then it counts again as a seclusion separate from the restraint. So 2 events followed the same similar pattern.
So it's the same, yeah, 2 seclusions, 2 restraints.
Makes sense.
Any other questions?
All right, moving on, then we have the spring sports report, that was in your packet also. Any questions? You good? All right, Mr. Delakowski with the district administrator's report.
Just 2 quick things, liability insurance came in, normally I report on that next month, but he was here like the day we were writing the agenda. I guess good news, and you have it in your packet, we are $10,000 lower, which is awesome. I can tell you that a workman's comp claim that was probably rather costly that came in the spring, or ended in the spring is not part of that, which means next year our mod rate that fell from whatever it was, 194 to 114, will probably go way back up to 194 if not. And it's nothing you can do about workman's comp. You can't go out to bid on workman's comp. You have to pay your mod. So it's good news for this year. It's $10,000 less. And that's happiness. Angelina Smith is home safely. Well, no, she's not. She flew straight into Milwaukee. There was many tears. There was a 2 a.m. phone call while she sat in Hanover, worried how she would get her second bag taken care of. So I had a quick conversation with an agent in the airport, but she did get on the plane. She found her way through Amsterdam, which she was scared to death about. Got to Atlanta. Atlanta was better. There was fried chicken. She knew she was back in America. Eat fried foods. And got home to Milwaukee and got both her bags back. So that's a win when you're traveling, doing foreign travel. She had to go straight to camping with her family. That's like they camp, I think, on Lake Michigan. So she still has not been home as far as I know. She's not back from the camping trip, but will be shortly. She will be happy to present to the board either the July or August meeting. I think she was on the phone when you walked in, and July might be rough, but I think it'd be really exciting to have that. So excited about what that first foreign exchange student in half a decade or half a century has probably done for us going out. I already have 3 interested students and the two from Germany that, know Angelina, that are looking for families, trying to set us up as an F1 visa, carrier with Cebus, which has been a lot of work, but not only is that amazing and awesome and good for our students and our community and our staff, it is, also good for our budget, because any foreign exchange student that moves in with Zach or Dakota or Birdie, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. You don't have to have kids in high school to have a foreign exchange student, but any kid that moves in is $14,048. They are a resident button seat according to the DPM. So it would be a budgetary boon if we get these three students. That's $42,000 that we didn't have, and wouldn't otherwise have. But it's also really good for our kids. And Angelina coming back and sharing her experience is gonna be really good for our community. And
It's an awesome experience to host as a family. We
yeah,
had,
that's right. You do.
when I was in high school, we had a foreign exchange student from Tunisia. And my dad taught him how to drive. It was not a disaster, but we called him the Tunisian terror when he did drive. But anyway, it was a lot of fun.
Anybody else ever host or?
We just had a kid from Vietnam.
Oh, nice.
My brother had him, and he graduated from Pius High School and was in Milwaukee,
Okay.
met his parents and so on, and now he's going to Madison.
Oh,
So we're
cool.
gonna see him more often.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, really nice kid.
The only thing that's, that I just wanna let the board know, you'll approve it next month. I had been meeting with, a person to consider donating the school sign. I also was reaching out to the Plainfield Lions, who agreed to donate substantially towards that sign. The donor that I met with called me yesterday morning and said he'll take care of the entire thing. So roughly $50,000+ that he's just gonna write a check for next week.
Has there been anything with that health insurance co-op you were talking about?
Yes, so in September, in August 13th, we are meeting again. In September, there will be a board item for you guys to consider for approval, which would be the exploration of the impacts of a co-op. So you literally, they just want you to approve that because they're gonna do a ton of legwork over months. They want to know you guys are serious. They don't wanna do that and then have you guys be like, oh no, I changed my mind. So they are M3 insurance company. So they're doing all that work for us. In the end, they're hoping that the co-op of 8 schools or whatever will go with them.
Who are the 8 schools?
Right now, the schools are Wapaka, Amherst, Wild Rose, Iola, Tri-County, Alma Bancroft. Now I'm out of fingers, I gotta stop. There's Wapaka, Wyvega Fremont is interested, and Watoma, not at this time. That's all I'm gonna say on that. And Westfield. So that's at least 7 that I'm probably missing. Yeah, that's exciting. That's all I got. Any questions on those things?
All right, moving on then to Mr. Marty.
So I've been working on a lot of next year's dates and just try to lay out the whole 9-month kind of picture when we get into summertime. Before I talked about that, I wanted to just share, we had gotten an update from Mid-State. We get one of these like beautiful reports every year. It just talks about our usage of our dual credit partnership with them. So this past school year, we had the number of students, and it's duplicated. So it means like if I took 2 classes, I get counted as 2. You know what I mean in here. So 98 students duplicated, took some partnership classes, dual credit class with Mid-State. 259 credits were earned. Total value of tuition and fees $42,080. So pretty awesome. So
It's 98 individual students.
well, again,
Classes.
there are if I took
Gotcha.
this class, I get counted every time I'm in a class, right? So there's obviously that, but that's a great, you know, it's great news to share. As far as
Was that, on just the dual credits, or I
Yes.
saw something on, the sheet for AP,
AP is a different animal.
a big dollar amount on there?
Correct. So AP is a different. AP is
But how many were involved with that? Was that like 900 or something, I think, or what?
50. Give me 1 second. I can tell you exactly what it is. Hold on. Actually, I gotta think about what's the best pathway here. If I know the answer to this. I think it was like 35 kids taking like 59 tests or something like that, but, you know, that's, you know, it's not like exact. No. If it hasn't turned the page yet, because the payment is due June 15th. And I don't know how quickly they,
That's okay.
it's right at the top of the screen now, so. All right, we had 35 participating students in, I want to say it was 7 AP classes. And again, sometimes they took more than, obviously, we gave 58 exams to those 35 kids. So, over a 2-week period of time. And then that depends on how you do with that, right? So district, so there was a change this year in state law. Districts was always paid half the cost for all AP exams ever since we started in 2013, I think it was. This year, and there are different rates. So if you qualify for a reduced rate, that is parallel to qualifying for like free and reduced lunch. So there was always a reduced rate for students that were in that pool. So invoices would be, you know, I create all these invoices, you know, if I don't qualify for that, I have half of the full rate, which is like, you know, like the full rate is like 9. And then it would be, if there wasn't the alternative, then I just pay half of the discounted rate. The state said this year that districts have to pay the full cost of all reduced rates. So then there's a chunk of money there that got added into our invoice for the year because those were extra. I mean, the invoice was the invoice. It's just where it ends up costing the district, not our problem. So anyway, that's that. So things coming up. We're gonna continue doing these TC Pride assemblies that we started this year. We've got 5 middle school ones scheduled and 8 high school ones scheduled, so and about 2 a quarter. We have 4 students, incoming juniors that are gonna participate in the Portage County Business Council Team Leadership Program again, this will be the 3rd or 4th year now that we've been doing that. That's been a really good addition for kids. On October 13th, it's going to be our fall testing day. At the end of October, the 28th, we're going to do our day of caring, 6/12. We're going to run a practice ACT window for my juniors. So with this program that we buy, they'll do a full practice one on that October 13th date. They can take up to 3 of them, but it's like you can take it like in modules kind of, so you don't have to do it all in like one sitting program. So we're going to do a second one kind of just over a 2-week window of time. I'm just going to ask our core teachers to say, do the math one in math, do the English one in English, you know, just so they can kind of get more data. And then we'll do a 3rd one on February, what was that again? January 29th, we're going to do one actual sit down, one more like more to replicate an actual ACT. We're going to do our electives fair again on that same January 29th day. Career Day, I know Nicole always helps with that. That's going to be February 12th. That's Friday of Winterfest week again. ACT is in the middle of March, right before spring break. Our pre-ACT day for 9th and 10th graders is going to be in the middle of April 14th. And Kate is going to get the reality store set up again for Portage County Business Council for the 9th and 10th graders that day. So that was kind of a nice, kind of work through that. We did it 2 years ago. So one of the kids that'll be doing this will have done it before. The 4-exam window for our middle school is going to be March 29th through April 16th. It's a bigger window than that, and in whole, but that's going to be kind of the time frame that we're going to complete it in schools. So, not that anybody remembered any of that, but I just wanted to kind of throw some of those out there. So,
Any questions from Mr. Ray? Ms. Mock?
Oh, okay, no, you're handy dandy, large. large view, you'll see this is our AGR report. So we give this 2 times per year. AGR is achievement gap reduction, and it replaced the old stage funds, which I know I give the same blurb every year, but we have new people, so I want to make sure they know what it is. So, basically, based on how many students you have who are free and reduced, you want to, you get a certain amount of dollars back, and you have 3 options for how to spend those dollars. It used to be that it was just class size, so keeping your class size is 18:1. When AGR happened, it replaced Sage, and it allowed you to either use coaches who have a 317 license, so teaching coaches, or interventionists who are able to provide interventions for students in a 1-to-1 type setting. Obviously, we had an interventionist who was working at our side of the building. Did not have the 317, did not have the capability to do 1-to-1. However, we do have some 317 licensed people in the district as a whole. So we have used some coaching in the past, but we've never really tied that to our AGR funds. We've always kept class sizes 18:1 or lower. What this helps us do, though, when we're able to use coaching or use intervention data, is if we would have a class that had 19. We don't have to hire another teacher for 1 extra student over and above the 18:1 teacher. So each school district that gets AGR funds based on their number of students in free and reduced categories, they have to submit what they want to do for their contract, how they want to keep track of data. We had entered into a new 5-year contract last year, and we had changed, originally our goals in the past have said 80% of all students in regular education. And we felt as a district, if our strategic plan and our building mission and vision is going for all students, we didn't want to take the students in special education out and put them separate. We really want 80% of all students. That's our goal. That's our mission. So we made that align when our contract came due. So our kindergarten through 3rd grade students are the ones that qualify for this AGR. We use our STAR early literacy data, our Ames Web Plus screeners. The teachers also are able to share with me a document where they're able to go in and keep track individually based on one specific STAR report where our students land with these goals. But we have 10 objectives that each grade level has picked out for both ELA and math. And so you'll see kind of over where we had our fall semester, this is where we were at in the fall, and then bolded next to it in the spring semester. So kindergarten, our goal was 80% of students attending our district for a full academic year will meet 7 out of 10 of the kindergarten performance objectives. So we were projected in the fall, after kind of our first sets of data came in, we were projected to have 79% of kindergarten students. We actually ended with 86% of kindergarten students, so we're above our goal there. Moving to the math, we had 61% projected. We're actually at 75%, so very, very close to that 80% goal. And these are actually the highest in many categories that we have been in the past few years in our spring totals. 74% of our 1st grade students had 7 out of 10 objectives for ELA, which was right where we were projected to be at in the fall. For 1st grade math scores, we had 76% of 1st grade students met 7 out of 10 performance objectives in math. And then if you flip to the back for the 2nd and 3rd grade, for ELA, we had 74% of 2nd grade students meeting 7 out of 10 performance objectives. That was up from the 61%, kind of based on their first set of data. Another one really, really close for the 2nd grade math, 77% of 2nd grade students met 7 out of 10 performance objectives. Then we have 3rd grade, very, very close again to that 80%, 78% of 3rd grade students met 7 out of 10 performance objectives. And then for 3rd grade math, we had 64% of 3rd grade students, which was our lowest of the categories. However, we were up from where we had projected that in the fall from 58% to 64%. So kudos to the teachers. Our goals over time from the last set of goals we had, the kind of the 10 that the teachers had picked in the prior contract to this contract haven't really changed. They kind of made sure that they aligned with our state standards still. If there were any updates to the language of the state standards, we updated our forms. But it's a lot easier in our new AIMSweb data tracking which is part of the Act 20 requirement. It's a lot easier now to generate reports that get us much, much closer to that number to be able to see where the students are on specific categories, which is actually really nice. STAR is what we've used in the past to kind of help us get close. But STAR is like a 25-minute test. It's multiple choice. For the kindergarten and the first grade students, they only get maybe 5 questions of a specific category. So it's really not as accurate. With the AIMSweb, a lot of the testing is done for Act 20 individually with the student, with a teacher one-on-one. So you're actually hearing their answer. They're not just clicking the right button by happenstance. So the numbers are looking really good here where we are, how that translates to proficiency as we keep going. Hopefully that's the same trend that we have been on, which is an upward trajectory. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see where this 3rd grade class ends up when they take the board exam in the spring. But yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The 3rd grade math at 64% is a little concerning, but as I remember, and
Last year
as second graders, they were very low as well.
Yeah.
So this is trending with
Yeah.
that group.
Yep. And you'll have that too. I mean, you will have some different classes where for whatever reason it was, and this year we might even see a reflection of that in our board exam testing. When we were taking the board exam, there were tons of glitches on the math portion when people were taking math, where it would freeze, or I know I had to go down to Mrs. Ertle's classroom because it like the whole thing, I think that was an ELA one though, the whole thing just stopped, and then we're calling the company like, we don't want them to have to redo the whole thing, but there was a lot of, for whatever reason, it wasn't our tech on our end, it was statewide outages that were causing things. So how that's going to affect, I know it happened a little bit more with our math than it did with our ELA, but numbers are looking better than they were anyway coming in, the preliminary ones anyways, so we'll see where it ends up putting us. But
Having done this for as long as I have, I've seen the WKC, and all the apples to oranges, you're comparing this year's class to last year's class and what have you. This, we can look at trends for a certain group of kids year to year, and it seems to me that 3rd grade class struggles a little bit in math.
Yeah. So that is that. Are there any other questions on the AGR for that one? What else do I have on the list here? If there's no other questions on that one. Summer school updates. Summer school, we are like right in the middle of it right now. Have like 7, 8 days left. It's been going awesome. If you've seen some of the Facebook post updates, there's been Mrs. Femel and Miss Zavala and I were all scrambling for marbles the other day inside the art room because they were making these mazes, and everybody wants you to do their maze to see if you can get it to go through. So we had marbles everywhere, but very, very fun things the teachers are planning for the students. Lots of learning, lots of engagement. Friday, Mr. Raveloin is doing his EE field trip for our students in kindergarten through 5th, 6th, through the top of our oldest students. 4Kers don't go on this one quite yet. They'll stay with Mr. Tao and then Miss Holland for the morning and afternoon. But that gives the students in EE a great chance to kind of practice their skills that they've been learning over the summer and getting ready for the field trips during the fall and spring semesters for students. So we're going to be doing that on Friday. It was supposed to be tomorrow, but we might have a little bit of some weather. Mr. Rivlin, so we're going to move that to Friday. But yeah, summer school is going awesome. We have about 102 kids. I think Kendra's got like 45 in the after school program. And so that's been going really well. They go to the library every Monday. Yeah, so that's been going pretty well too. Pickup line changes, we've been trying out at summer school so that we can hopefully change the end of the year pickup situation to make it a little bit quicker and safer for our students. That has been going really well. Dakota, you picked up a couple times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's really efficient. The only thing that I would, and this is no fault of anybody, but communication between like myself and my mother-in-law, for an example, is that I had a last minute like, oh crap, I gotta take this work call. Can you please go pick up Evan? Didn't even think to tell her that there was changes. She didn't know it went the wrong way. It was a whole big deal.
Oh, yeah.
But now
That's
I'm
a
like,
really
okay,
good
it would be
point.
nice to have signs.
Yeah.
And again, I would take, that was totally my fault, but I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
for permanently,
it's
it
gonna
would be
happen.
nice to have the
Yeah.
signs that say, especially with the ones that just out of habit, like she was like, no, it's always the way we've always
Yes.
done. I'm like,
Right.
what? We
Yeah.
changed things. And
Yep,
so
yep.
it was kind of a
That's a good
little
point.
chaotic after.
We have people coming in on this far road down here so that they can pull off the road and kind of pack themselves in on the horseshoe loop. And we will, now that we've tried it and we know that it's kind of probably likely gonna be a fit. We'll have some signage and we'll have Scott do some lines so that you'll be able to see. And we'll take down the sign that says
One
The
way.
wrong one.
one way, do not
Yeah.
enter on the side, cause that's confusing
Brittany,
as well.
Cindy acknowledged that Nate wanted to
Oh, yeah,
throw something out there.
Yeah.
I think now you're talking about it, so I just noticed the other day, when I went to Hancock, the buses were gone, so the road was back open. But I went, straight down this way when I left, to go back way to Hancock, but there were still people coming for pickup. We're so used to that just being a corner there, there's no stop
There's no
sign
stop
or
sign
anything.
anywhere. I ran into
So,
that.
I went to go
That's a
to
good
the
idea.
left to go out, take the back way to Hancock, and there's a van
So
coming,
by
and
law,
they just
those
went
people are
straight
making
through.
a left turn off of
Yeah,
south.
but both
onto-
have the right of way because there is no stop sign.
Cause usually the
Yeah.
horseshoe, whoever comes out of the horseshoe as the exit, used to always stop. and
Yeah.
it's
And I
just a
came up
corner
to a
there.
parent that just did that today, where they rounded the corner. They didn't stop. I didn't plan on stopping, cause I also felt
Sure.
like I had the right of way, but I,
So we
saw
should
her,
talk to the village
so-
maybe about,
well, and
that's a great idea. I
Yeah.
did
Couldn't
that.
stop
And
sign?
originally,
Or
there
you
was
to the
gonna
right.
be a time where that was
Stop sign
closed,
where? If you
right?
stop.
I would say headed
There was-
west.
There
True.
was originally a time where that was going to be, that road was going to be closed until.
During drop off.
During,
Yeah.
Section where the
until
teachers
after the
park,
pickups,
whenever
yep.
it's closed,
Until
west.
the pickup
Yeah.
students go. But we should almost,
Charles and
West.
West.
we should
I
almost
think West on Charles,
talk
when
to
it
the
comes
village
up
to
to west.
see which
When's your next
which
village board meeting?
area is gonna make the most sense to the.
You would wait. He said he wouldn't wait. Oh, he wouldn't.
Okay, any other things for Brittany?
I just like to make a comment on the gap report. You look at the numbers like percentages, but actually there's children involved here, and you can see that almost every one of these, their extra children has done better. It's
Yes.
4, it's
Yes.
3, and 2.
Yes.
That's really great.
That's
That is
good.
good.
Yeah.
And it's, I think it's a better representation of our district as a whole. It always felt really, really off to be not reporting on our students in special education, because our goal is the same for them that it is for all of the students, regardless of if we're trying to get to 80% proficiency for a regular ed student, we're still trying to get our students in special ed to 80% proficiency. That's
I'm
the
not
goal.
supposed to say it, but I'm in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brittany.
All right,
Yeah, thank you.
moving on then to future agenda items. We have Act 89 updates due before September 1st. What is Act 89?
So you guys just approved Act 57 along with the last board policy packet 35.1. Both Acts 57 and Acts 89 have been enacted by the legislature to 110%. It's all about preventing grooming of kids. Act 89 is going to it's going to put some tie downs on coaches and teachers using Remind and Class Dojo, and they're gonna have to use only school-approved things, and they have to be managed, so like, you can use Class Dojo or Remind or whatever, but you have to allow Brittany to be, at any time, to log in from her home
Yeah.
to see what's being said on there. No texting, no Snapchatting, no none of that. Now it is against the law. So,
Thank God.
and we as a board have to have that in our policy by September 1st. So you'll have a first reading July, I mean, this is one of those where your policy allows you to just emergency it in. So I was gonna throw it on our board agenda, but there's no rush. So you'll probably do maybe a first, it'll be up to the policy committee if they wanna do a first and second reading
I
or
would
not.
say the only suggestion would be like prior to fall sports starting.
Making sure those
Really,
code, yeah, actually,
like
the
coaches
July
in
meeting would
school,
be good,
it
'cause
would be
technically
nice.
that covers football.
Yeah, that,
Pretty much.
just throwing it out there. It
Yep,
would be
no.
nice to implement it right there.
Then the ADs, I mean, to be honest, the ADs have already made it clear
Well, but
that,
it makes more sense to actually have it in policy
Amen.
and an
Have it on the
enforceable.
books.
Yeah.
Yep.
you bet,
Yeah.
I would like that.
Okay.
So let's
All right,
hope for
then
that.
we've got bus negotiations are coming up.
Yeah, we'll just have to pick Jeff was here today and I didn't pick his brain, but we'll pick a time and the negotiations team will meet with Jeff and Tracy hopefully and they'll tell us that they're gonna charge us less money.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
Put the foreign exchange student on.
Oh yeah, foreign exchange student presentation, flyer out
At her leisure.
at her
Yeah,
leisure.
Don't,
No
don't
rush.
force her to run.
No, right. And then in July, don't forget July 21st.
What's July 21st?
That our next meeting is kind of sort of is gonna feel like it's a week early.
You're rushing it here.
Sorry,
We got
sorry.
announcements. Are there any announcements?
Announcements.
All right, and
Yeah.
then next, just make sure that you understand that the board meeting is July 21st.
Is the first
Following
is a
week,
Wednesday.
yep,
So the fourth Tuesday is technically the 28th,
right.
but the school law seminar starts the 28th. That's what I'm like.
So just take note of that. Date change for the July meeting, same time, same place. Just take note of it. Okay, with that, let's take a break for 5 minutes or something, and then we're gonna move into closed session.
We're not making